Today I'm going to show you the first Nikon Z8 images and also compare the rumored specs with the Sony A7rV camera, which is the camera I am currently using to record this video. And I'm also going to tease you about the upcoming new Sony rumors, because there are some cameras that are coming very soon. But before that, please take 2 seconds time to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button to not miss any of my upcoming videos. The past 4 days I was offline. I was at LEAKED with my family and my friends. I enjoyed it, so I didn't check my rumor emails to avoid to be stressed. And now I'm back since half an hour, and I wanted to quickly make a video about the Z8 images and specs, but also tease you about the upcoming videos, because the past 4 days I got reliable rumors about the next Sony cameras. So I'm going to work on those and probably start posting about that tomorrow. So again, another reason to follow this channel. But now let's talk about the Z8. Here you can see the first leaked images via Nikon rumors. The camera is basically a mini Z9 with a body that seems to be a tiny bit bigger than the Z7 cameras. I also made a spec sheet comparison between the Z8 and the A7rV, and in blue I marked those specs that are better compared to the competitor. Let's start with the sensor. The Nikon Z8 has the same Nikon Z9 sensor, so 45.7 megapixels, and the A7rV retains an edge with 50 megapixels more. So if you want the ultimate resolution, you would go for the Sony. But that 50 megapixel gap is really very small in a very practical terms. So the A7rV has the edge, but it's really a small edge over the Nikon. When it comes to the ISO range, the Sony A7rV still has the edge. The Nikon Z8 can shoot faster at 20 FPS, while the Sony can only do 10 FPS. Also keep in mind the Sony has a higher resolution, which eats up the frame speed. When it comes to stabilization, the Sony seems to have a clear edge with 8 stops compared to the 6 stops of the Nikon. But again, also we have to see if this translates in a real practical advantage, because those measurements are really not regulated measurements. They are made by their own company, so we have to see in practical terms if there is really an advantage on the Sony. The shutter speed is much faster on the Nikon. Here the Nikon wins. The Sony has mechanical and electronic shutter, while the Nikon has only electronic shutter. I happen to have seen some artifacts on the electronic shutter on the A7rV. I still think mechanical shutter is most reliable if you really want to be 100% artifact free in any situation. Of course, electronic shutter has other advantages, but I prefer to have both options. That's why I marked in blue that the Sony has the edge. When it comes to autofocus, Sony clearly has the edge with 200 autofocus points more, and we know from the history that Sony is really the number one when it comes to the autofocus performance overall, while Nikon and Canon are very damn good, but still a tiny bit behind the Sony cameras. When it comes to raw info, there isn't much info about the Z8 capabilities, so let's skip this point. When it comes to the video performance, the Nikon has a clear edge with 8K 60p. The A7R4 also has the edge when it comes to the back screen, because it has a 4-axis tilting screen. The Nikon will not have that, so the Sony is much more usable in that regard. There is no info about the resolution of the screen. Sony resolution is not very good, particularly in daylight situation. I still struggle with it. I always use the EVF. The EVF on the A7rV has 9.5 million dot, while on the Z8 it's still not sure what kind of resolution it has, but it's rumored that it has between 3 or 9 million dot. Still, even if it's 9 million dot, it will be a tiny bit less than the Sony. When it comes to memory cards, the Z8 uses the Type B CF Express, while Sony uses Type A, so I give Nikon the edge because Type B cards are faster and also more affordable. So in that regard, the Nikon still beats the Sony. The only advantage of Type A cards is that they are much smaller. Both cameras are weather sealed. The Nikon is a tiny bit bigger and the Sony is a tiny bit smaller camera. So depending on what you are looking for, the Z8 might be better if you want to have a better ergonomic and more solid feeling, while the Sony is a tiny bit more portable. That's up to you what you prefer. When it comes to the weight, it seems like the Sony is still the lighter camera compared to the Nikon Z8, and when it comes to the price is really nearly exactly the same, with the A7rV costing around €100 less if the leaked pricing is correct. So that's it. That's all the info we have about the Z8. As you see, it's a very nice camera from Nikon, and it really compares well against the A7rV, and there is no real camera that is better than the other one. It depends on what you really need and want. At this point, what really matters if you choose a camera between Nikon, Sony and Canon is the ecosystem. You have certain advantages with Nikon, certain other with Canon, and certain other with Sony. I think overall the Sony ecosystem as a whole is still the edge. There are many more cameras coming from Sony this year, like I told you, at least 5 E-mount cameras, and probably also some fixed lens cameras. And I will now go through the rumors I got the past 4 days, try to double check them, and if all gets fine, the first rumor about the next Sony camera will be published tomorrow on this channel, so again, don't miss that. And that's it for today. I see you soon.